Hello Fiddler's Elbow family, this is Chef Michael. I want to prepare a little food for you guys, so not really for you guys, for ourselves to eat actually. What we're going to do is we're going to do a little stew today, comfort food, something you can do ahead a little bit and put away and have it even a day later once again. What I use today for meat, I'm going to use some pork butt. I diced this up in like 1.5 inch cubes. This can be also replaced with beef, with veal, with lamb, or even venison if you have something like this. This recipe is based off, it's going to be very versatile, meaning like just as I mentioned, can be done with all different types of meats. A couple basic ingredients we're going to need for the stew is obviously our meat, cubed in 1.5 inch pieces. Then we have some diced onions. We're going to need some crushed garlic, some tomato paste, a little bit of white wine, some paprika, some flour and some salt. And I'm actually ready to go to start. So I'm going to show you quickly how to cut an onion the best way. I have an onion here that I just split in half, and as you can see, you got the back where the kind of like the onion holds together. So this is what you want to have in the back when you start slicing it. You take a decent chef knife and you just keep on slicing it down like that. What's happening is the onion is held together on the back there, and so it will be actually easier for you to do those slices, to dice it. And we go the other way around, horizontal, and slowly just cut it right through. Okay. The onion doesn't have to be perfectly sliced for this dish. Due to is we're going to roast it up and smother it, so the onion's actually going to disintegrate eventually in the stew. It's going to help us to thicken it a little bit. Okay. Do that. And then with the garlic, a very easy way to do is take like these 4 cloves of garlic. I'm going to just press them with the back of my knife. As you can see, swoosh them. Okay. That's one easy way to do that. And then I'll go around. And start chopping them up. Watch your fingers with a sharp knife so you don't cut yourself. And this one too, it doesn't have to be ultimately fine, because it's kind of going to cook out over a couple of hours while we're braising the meat. So it's going to be nice and tender. Okay, I mixed that right in with the onions. Okay, so we have that. So I take about 3 pounds of meat. I take 1 large onion, or like 2 medium-sized onion, dice them up, 4 cloves of garlic. The next step we're going to do now is actually we're going to marinate the meat, or season the meat. I have some salt here, but you're going to be fairly generous with the salt. And we're going to put some black pepper on there. I like to put a little bit of paprika on it as well. Going to help me get browning a little bit and color on the sauce. And then we just kind of mix this up nicely. Okay. A little more salt there. Alright. So, they said we're going to put the stove on full power and heat up our casserole. You want to have a decent size of casserole, preferably something with a little bit of thicker bottom. So when you sear the meat, it starts searing relatively quickly and doesn't start boiling where it doesn't get enough. So now we're taking the marinated meat, or that seasoned meat I spoke to you earlier. I have a fairly decent hot casserole. You can see the smoke coming up on it. Okay, very nice like that. We let the oil heat up for a moment. We want to add some of this meat in. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to let that go. We're going to move it right away a bit. We want to get a nice darker brown caramelization on the meat. As you can see, I didn't put too much in the casserole, otherwise it's just gonna get the pan's gonna cool down and the meat starts to release water and it starts to boil. Which if that's happening to you, it's not that bad of a thing. You're just gonna have to let it go and keep on reducing, and then eventually when all the liquid is reduced, it starts sprouting at that point. And that's okay since we don't do it in stew anyway. It doesn't really affect the meat at that point. It's a longer process at that point. As you also can see, I have a lot of meat here and only put a little bit in the casserole. So I'm going to do this process 2-3 times in order to get all the meat ready. So the meat started searing now, because that does have a little color, as you can see. It gets that golden brown color which we're looking for, which is important for the flavor of the stew slash goulash later on. So I'm going to move that around a little bit. So all the sides can be browned evenly. What type of meats are you want to use for stews is obviously also kind of like a secondary cut, what we call pieces from the leg or from the shoulder or even from the neck of an animal. They're like designed because they are very tough and they all have a nice marbling, or they're cut through with like fat as well, and that gives them a nice flavor profile. So we're back. The meat started to roast nicely. As you can see, you got some nice caramelization on the meat. Okay, we're going to bring the heat down a little bit. However, we're going to add on the garlic in there now and the onion, and we're going to smother that with the meat for a little bit. Stir it up. And the goal here is also to get a little bit color on the onions and the garlic as well. You know, light golden brown color. Okay. It's just not going to take very long. Now, once this has all that, we're going to add a little bit of the tomato paste in there. I like to use a little bit of tomato paste to get a little bit more color into it, as well as helps us to thicken it. And then we're going to replace with some white wine, since there's an unwritten rule, or there's a written rule that says white meat you use white wine, and dark meat, red meat you use red wine. I do like to use for this pork, I rather like to use white wine to replace it. It's just like a nice little color there. Let's see that. I'm going to add a little bit of this tomato paste, a good spoon. And this is what we want to do now. So I add this tomato paste, a little bit more. We're going to brown it nicely. Okay. So just to go quick over the recipe, this is about 1.5 pounds of cubed pork, you know, which I cut this time from the butt. You can also use the pork neck. We have a half an onion, we have some chopped garlic, and we roast this up a little bit. So over here it started to caramelize a little bit. As you can see, the bottom gets a little darker brown. Alright, I move this around a little bit. I give it a little bit of the white wine to deglaze it. And one more time, let the wine totally reduce out. Because when you reduce wine like this, when you use wine in a cooking procedure like this, you want to really cook the alcohol out. Bring all the liquid is evaporated. It takes away the acidity from the wine and just leaves the actual flavor profile behind. So it's not going to take much here to do that actually. So the wine is basically evaporated. We're going to do this the classic way, which means we're going to put a little bit of the flour right in with here, with this meat right now. Not too much, just like a spoon. It's going to help us to thicken the sauce, okay? Now, for the people that are actually gluten-free, you can actually skip this step, okay? And just eliminate the flour. And then at the end, when we're done, and you're going to see this later, but back to that later, we can thicken it a little bit with cornstarch if we have to. So if we would eliminate this flour, this step I just did, this could be a gluten-free recipe if you don't use this flour. Okay? Then the flour is roasted up a little bit as well. You can see it's set on the bottom of it. So now we can fill this either up with like a beef broth or even like a chicken broth, or we can use some natural stock, which is really only water, which is perfectly fine. And I'm going to fill this up to literally cut the meat nicely, okay? Now this is an important moment right now. You want to stay with this and keep on stirring until it really starts boiling, okay?